When we say that somebody is a people person, what we really mean is that they understand people. They know how to get the best out of them, and also what makes them tick. If you don't have this skill, then you most likely want it. Well, what if we told you that there are a few artificial ways of gaining this skill? Today we're showing you 10 surprising tests that will reveal the truth about you, your personality, and everyone around you. We're not usually fond of telling people what to do, but from using our newfound people skills, we can just tell that you want more from the hub. So before we start, make sure to click subscribe and we know you'll love the result. The ink blot test. You've probably seen an ink blot test before, but you might not have realized its significance when it comes to picking apart someone's personality. Otherwise known as the Rorschach test, they're often used in job interviews or psychological tests to reveal underlying features of a person. For example, one of the most famous ink blot tests is an image which can be interpreted most commonly as either a pair of humans or something else entirely. It's thought that if you don't spot the people-shaped blots first off, then you could have issues in social situations, and possibly be slightly neurotic. However, around 25% of people report as to not being able to spot the humans and instead see individual different images. But no one has truly come up with a conclusive idea of what this other option could be. Some ink blots even use color as an identifying tool. Another common one uses a bright red shade, which is supposed to represent blood. If you then see the images as angry or negative, you could be more prone to these bad emotions. If, however, the red color doesn't deter you from seeing something different, you could be a very calm person. What your eyes are saying. We often think we can tell a lot from somebody's eyes. If they're ignoring our stare or if they're keeping full contact, it's often an indication as to whether or not we can trust what they're saying. But have you ever considered that you could learn something from going back to the pure basics? By looking at the whole eye rather than the expression. Different types of eyes are thought to show us different elements of an individual's personality. For example, someone with almond-shaped eyes is thought to be perhaps more secretive, which could be linked back to the fact that almond-shaped eyes are quite rare. In contrast, people with big eyes are generally considered to be very open-minded, endlessly curious, and to have a warm personality. Most of the physical traits of the eye can be linked back to genetics, but in some instances, they might tell you more about a person than you thought. We see brown, blue, and hazel eyes all the time, but a small percentage of people have entirely black eyes. These people are thought to keep a lot to themselves and are supposedly known for being secretive. Now we're definitely going to look twice at everybody we meet. How you hold your bag. When you're in a rush, you might think that you just grab your bag from the sofa and run off to start the day. You probably don't put much thought into how you pick it up or how you hold it. But something as simple as this can actually reveal a lot about who you are as a person. For example, if you're a fan of backpacks, it could suggest that you're always ready to take off. You don't like fuss and you're perpetually up for an adventure. But maybe you're not quite as free-falling as this person, and perhaps instead you hold your bag in your hand. What does this say about your personality traits? People who hold their bag in their hand are thought to be fans of keeping in control. They want the whole truth and nothing but the truth, and they love being informed as to what's going on. Your friend who carries their bag over their shoulder is the security-conscious one. He likes to know where everything is in a rush, and although his bag is easily accessible, he knows that it's in a position where nobody else can grab a hold of it. If this doesn't get you second-guessing all of your closest friends, we're not sure what will. Do your fingers reveal all? There's always that one guy in your friendship group who acts all macho and seems to know everything. You know the type, incredibly cocky and loves the attention. You might get annoyed at him for acting this way, but it could actually be due to his genes and hormone levels. There's one good way to test this theory, and we're about to spill the secret. Place one hand on a flat surface in front of you and look at the length of your ring finger. Now compare it to the length of your forefinger. If your ring finger is the same length, it means you might have higher levels of male hormones in your body. If it's shorter, it means you probably have lower levels. You might be wondering what this has to do with overconfidence or trying to be the class clown, but higher levels of these hormones can bring on these traits. Now, we're not saying that you should give this guy an excuse because realistically, it might just be the way he was brought up, and he might actually just not be a nice guy. But we're here today to give you and him the benefit of a doubt. Your eating habits might tell all. So, we admit that we don't need science to tell us that if somebody sticks almost entirely to salads, they're probably a fan of healthy eating. Similarly, if someone snacks all day long, you could infer that they're pretty easygoing and don't worry too much about what's going on. Do we really need the experts to tell us about how our eating habits can reveal our personality traits? Well, you'd be surprised to hear that psychologists have developed these thought processes far more than we anticipated. It turns out that you can tell a lot about a person not just from what they're eating, but from how they're eating it. We all know somebody who eats incredibly slow. It's probably the person you subconsciously avoid having lunch with. knowing that what should take 20 minutes will actually take closer to an hour. A Los Angeles-based food behavioral specialist claims that a slow eater may eat at this pace because of low energy or a low mood. And a fast eater tends to be ambitious, goal-oriented, and open to new experiences. So next time you're sat down wondering if you ate too much too fast, consider that actually it might link back to a positive personality trait after all. The cross test. This one's pretty simple. Draw a cross on a white sheet of paper, and then draw something different in each individual square. You should do it in order of top left to top right, bottom left, and bottom right. This is because we make our subconscious decisions in this manner. Now, you might be wondering why you're doodling away when you're meant to be finding out hidden personality traits. But each box actually represents a different part of your lifestyle. The 4 boxes, in the same order as before, are meant to ask the following questions. How do my family see me? How does society see me? How do I see life? How do I see love? By now you're probably a bit confused and are wondering how your drawings can show something so significant. Generally, you can look at the emotion behind the sketch. So if you drew sunshine, that area of your life is probably pretty positive. If you drew a flower, then it could mean you're feeling happy about that element. But if you drew dark clouds or something sad or upsetting, then it likely means you're not satisfied with this part of your world and you should probably try your best to change it. How often you check your phone? When you're not analyzing yourself over your phone usage, there's a fun game you can play here. Next time you're out for dinner with friends, make everyone put their phone in a pile in the middle. Whoever reaches for their phone first pays for dinner. It might seem like a cruel psychological trick, but at least you can then console your friend or yourself about what it means about them as a person once they inevitably foot the bill. By now, you're probably wondering what it does mean if you constantly check your phone, or if you're the opposite. What it could mean if you never check. A study conducted at Baylor University in Texas found that introverts are less likely to check their phones half as much as extroverts. They also look at which of these people could be considered to be addicted to their phones. And you guessed it, introverts drew the lowest scores again. This is thought to be linked to a sense of connection that extroverts rely on to get through everyday life, whereas introverts are perfectly happy to enjoy their food without constant Snapchat updates. However, this does mean that if your mom asks you to put your phone down, you can simply tell her it's part of your personality, so sorry, no can do. What your eye contact says. Eye contact is a funny thing. If someone gives too much of it, we start to feel a bit self-conscious and aware of our every move. On the other hand, if someone refuses to look us in the eye, we're immediately wary of him or her and want to know what they're hiding. It's true that some people are just better at eye contact than others, but have you ever considered that it might explain some similar personality traits? A lot of emotions can be broken down simply by considering your partner's eye contact. If the person you're talking to looks away suddenly, it's probably because they're embarrassed. Either that, or they've just heard a loud noise. If someone keeps their gaze on you, it suggests that not only are they interested in what you're saying, but they're also accepting it and probably agreeing with your thoughts. These personality traits have become so typical that you'll often see them in everyday life. Salesmen will often grab your stare when you're walking past to encourage you to stop, and politicians will try and look at everyone at once to seem more honest and believable. This does also work to fake your confidence. If you can hold your eye contact for long enough, the person you're speaking to will probably believe you're far more self-assured than you think you are. Your favorite colors. You might think your color choices are simply influenced by your lifestyle. For example, if you work with food, you probably don't own many white items of clothing. Similarly, if your job means you spend a lot of time outside in the sunshine, you likely don't wear black, which would absorb the heat. But there's more you can know about your favorite colors and how these define your personality type than you would perhaps expect. A frequent test used to easily find out an individual's personality is the color test. Place colored pencils of a variety of shades in front of the person and get them to pick their favorite. The results are thought to be as follows. If you pick the black pencil, then you're probably artistic or sensitive. You're careful with the details of your life and act in a measured way. If you choose the red crayon, you're outgoing and lively. Blue represents the opposite, that you enjoy calm and serenity, and you appreciate stability in your lifestyle. If out of all of the colors you choose yellow or green, then psychology suggests you find happiness easily or you appreciate loyalty and consider reputation important respectfully. Obviously, these facts won't give you the entire rundown on a person, but they can be a good indication. Myers-Briggs test. Perhaps the most thorough test on our list, the Myers-Briggs test, has been used for years to find out intricate elements of a person's individual traits, spanning from whether you're an extrovert or an introvert to understanding your communication type and preferences. It's almost scary just how accurate this test can be. It asks questions like whether you turn up late to appointments, whether you feel involved when watching programs on TV, and if it's difficult for you to feel motivated. After you've answered the questions, you'll be given a 4-letter answer. You might be wondering just how much you can figure out about yourself from 4 simple letters, but each one is indicative of a personal trait. This is a great test to do to get a quick but detailed overview of someone. By the end, which shouldn't take more than around 10 minutes, you'll know whether they think with their head or their heart, if they live a well-structured life or prefer to freefall, and whether they use people and things or information and facts to complete their thought processes. You might have already come across this test during a job interview, but if not, it's a fun way to learn a lot more about yourself in a short period of time. Now, there's nothing more interesting than learning the deep and dark hidden truths about yourself and your friends, right? We hope you enjoyed this video, and make sure to subscribe to the Hub for more great content. Thanks, and see you next time!